Hey ya folks, how's it going? My name's Lexi and I really love tabletop games. So much so that we sit down together once a week, every week, and we review one here at the gaming table. I try to keep these videos short, under 10 minutes, so we can both find our next game. If you would like to help out the gaming table, there is a link in my description box where you can donate to my Ko-Fi page. All donations made to the gaming table go straight back into the running costs of the channel, so it is deeply appreciated. Today I am taking a look at a game that I actually had to borrow from a friend. I'd read about the game and I wanted to check it out, but I found it was a bit difficult to get a copy. It seems like since its initial launch on Kickstarter, there haven't been any reprints that have come to Australia. So I'm very lucky that someone I knew happened to have a copy. Today we are taking a look at Ecopunk 2044, a dice capital game. The world of Ecopunk is not an optimistic one. The timeline for this game actually starts in 2024. The work of climate activists to try motivate governments into doing something about the global climate crisis has gone pretty much unnoticed. In the face of this, the movement collapses, and in the preceding years, several other disasters come to the planet Earth. World War III, for example, breaks out and is fought, and the internet becomes completely broken. It's theorized that a Russian scientist built a generalized artificial intelligence named Bridge Builder. It's theorized that the initial goal of Bridge Builder was to link websites together so that the scientists could get a hold of other countries' nuclear warhead codes. What Bridge Builder did is it linked every single website on the internet, effectively collapsing everything. As soon as everyone realized that all the websites were linked and everything was now no longer secure, things like nuclear warheads got a ban. Once people realized that the internet was broken, and this included access to nuclear warheads, governments quickly abandoned nuclear arms. This period, the period that humanity now lives in 2044, is called the death spiral. Some are living out these days hoping for divine intervention, while others see this as a time to indulge in hedonism, as it's the apocalypse, so what consequences will there be? Player characters in this game belong to neither group. They are called punks, a term that has been appropriated to describe individuals who are struggling against humanity's doom and the restrictions of the world around them. The game takes place in a city, perhaps it's North America or Western Europe. All citizens who reside here receive universal basic. This provides basic shelter, food, and basic medical care. If you need more than this, or you happen to not be a citizen, then you're going to have to find a way around. You could perhaps set your game elsewhere in the world. The three powers left at the end of World War III are the Central African Socialist Union, the European Commune, and the Chinese Interest. Each major power seems to have some kind of flaw, and no one trusts anyone. A lot about the world has changed in the year 2044. Due to the ecological disasters attributed to climate change, cities have pivoted their priority. Now all efforts and organization is put towards mitigating the effects of climate change. The planet has surpassed warming by 2 degrees, so there's no way to really go back. It's more about mitigating any potential disasters. I also mentioned how the internet is broken. Well, if you want to access the internet, you might have to do so on a home computer. Most households will only have one electronic device that connects to the internet. It won't be new at all, and it would have been repaired several times. These government websites also are extremely slow to load and very basic with not much useful information on them. If you want to get past these, you need to directly plug yourself into the computer to access the internet at large. This is dangerous not only because it's illegal, but there's a lot of strange things that are happening on the internet now that can directly hurt you. Hacking is a risky activity, no matter how smart you do it. One of the big cultural events on the timeline of Ecopunk is an event that has been dubbed the final performance of Teeth. Teeth was a pretty subversive band. During their last performance, they pulled a man on stage. He was a fan of the band, but also happened to be the son of a CEO, a quite important CEO who is probably responsible for numerous ecological disasters. Teeth then put the man on trial for all of the crimes his family has committed against the environment. They then sentenced him to death. I won't describe how they executed him on stage, but suffice to say, this was a huge moment in the cultural zeitgeist. Some people saw this as a call to action to directly confront the people who had created so much suffering in the world. Others saw it as a call to engage in hedonism and cruelty, as it is the end times. This game is played using pools of d6s. Players in this game can actually choose to either roll their dice to meet a challenge, or they can choose to have the dice consumed. By that, I mean the dice are taken out of the pool for that roll and you can no longer access them until your dice pool is replenished. Consuming the die means that you generally get an easy or automatic success on the test, but you don't have access to those die until you can replenish them. For easy challenges in this game, the manual suggests that the players are going to be rolling and trying to meet a challenge number of 10, and for something that would be impossible or extremely unlikely, the number would be closer to 50. From what I read in the manual, it seems pretty easy and frequent for the players to get those dice back, so it seems like consuming the dice might be a useful thing to do if you really need the test to result in a success for you. I really like the option of consuming dice to have the test be a success. I think it makes the dice themselves a resource to the players in the game, much like a skill would be. One of the things the manual highlights is the game master can inform the players of the temperature of the scene. This ranges from cold, warm to hot. A cold scene is something with low stakes. Warm means, of course, the action is ramping up, and hot means you're really in for some action. The game is formed around a mission structure, so the punks will have an objective. As they work towards it, generally, the game heats up. One of the places you can replenish your dice pool is after a mission, when a scene gets back down to cold. In this game, you have some pretty interesting mechanics for accessing the internet. Accessing it requires you to take rolls as you're directly plugging yourself into the online world. One of the potential consequences of accessing the internet is if you fail a roll, is you potentially could have a double created of yourself. And that provides a lot of complications. The first thing you do when making a character is you select a drive. This is why your character is a punk. Then you need to settle on your character's aspects. The aspects in this game are toughness, finesse, speed, clarity, and intellect. Now, the average person has a score of 0 across all these aspects, whereas the punks can have up to a maximum of a +2. I think that indicates how your punks are a bit more ready for some of these challenges. Then you have a couple of other things to create, like some skills or talents. There's an awareness score, a health score, some fortune points, and then other things like equipment and character background details. One of the things I really loved about the skills and talents is to get some of them, you need to have a particular aspect score. This means that while there is some requirements to get them, it's a pretty modular experience to customize your character. One of the last little things you need to write down is your character's languages and their starting money. It feels like I've only really scratched the surface of this game. There's a lot of moving parts. The most striking part of this game for me was the setting. As I was reading through the timeline leading up to the present day of this game, I felt pretty nervous. There were a lot of events that were placed in that timeline that feel like they actually really could happen, so it was a little bit unnerving. Hopefully the events in Ecopunk 2044 don't actually come to pass. I think one of the things I did struggle with was what the punks' objectives were. It's sort of left a little bit vague what your punks are fighting for, so you can change it to suit your group. I did wonder though, if there are places where there's things like universal basic, what are the inequalities that the punks are looking to and trying to resist and rise against? I do think this game is for a specific type of tabletop game player, but I'm not quite sure how to put it into words. If you have any ideas about how you would describe the player for a game of Ecopunk, let me know. So those were my thoughts on Ecopunk 2044, a DICE Capital game. I do wish game companies would have the chance to reprint their games a bit more often. So much of a game's success now relies on getting enough notice prior to the game's publishing and hoping that it continues to be popular. It makes it a bit more difficult for people to discover it after the fact. You can get a PDF copy of the game online, but it was a bit of a struggle for me to see where it's being sold as a physical copy. You might have to reach out to your local gaming store to see if they can bring it in for you. What did you think of Ecopunk 2044? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. While you're there, I encourage you to like this video and perhaps even share it with a friend who you think would find it interesting. If you'd like to know when I've next got a video coming out, you can subscribe and turn on notifications so YouTube will tell you when I've next uploaded. Pretty much any and all interaction with this video is a huge help. If you'd like to go the extra special mile for the gaming table, you can donate to the channel using the link in my description box to my Ko-Fi page. All donations go straight back into the running costs of the channel, such as the costs of getting games printed, so it is deeply appreciated. I want to thank you all for watching and discussing Ecopunk 2044 with me. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time at the gaming table. Bye!